Moon, rising Venus. Venus is going to be more love and relationships if you have Leo placements there. So just keep that in mind. Otherwise, you're a Leo. You kind of get it. Now, you may be saying, hey, I'm a Leo rising. I'm a Leo moon. It's not my sun sign. Just remember, your moon is your feelings. It's your internal world. So you may feel like a Leo more than people perceive you as a Leo, or you actually think of yourself as a Leo, right? How you actually act in the world. Your rising is going to be how people perceive you typically. These are general broad strokes. We're just kind of going over the basics here. So that's how people perceive you. So you may act a lot like a Leo and you may not feel like one, but this is hopefully going to help you regardless. We're up to this one. This is the 5th one in our 12 Zodiac series. I am hoping and believing that we should be able to get all of these done before the month of July. I know when I first announced this, I was saying, hey, we're going to get this done weekly, and I was going to do 3 a week for 4 weeks. But then I was like, you know what? I think people actually would want these before the month. Wouldn't that be helpful? Wouldn't that be nice? So that's what we're going to do. I want to give some background on how astrology fits into my metaphysical cosmology, how I use it. Obviously, if you've listened to the podcast or you have any idea who I am, I do very much believe that our imagination is God. It's our creator. It is fundamentally within our own agency and power to create our reality with what we believe in. Our faith, our conviction determines that predominantly. But we can use tools like tarot and astrology to gain some insight, some perspective on the contours of the energy that's happening. So I like to look at astrology and tarot as kind of like a energetic weather forecast. So some of this stuff may resonate profoundly. Some of it may not resonate at all, but it is there that we can practically use it. Astrology and tarot should never feel binding or restrictive, meaning it shouldn't be something that is like, oh, I'm doomed to experience a negative day because, the moon is opposing Saturn in my 8th house and I'm going to have to deal with all this karma and transformation. No, it's not really what it's about. It's just about, hey, maybe you're having a wonky fucking day, and then you go and you find out like, oh, this is some astrological pattern that's going on. If we think of the universe that we're in, the physical universe, as just a vibratory field, which it is, vibrations, vibes, the influence of the spheres of the planets moving would certainly have some type of effect on how we feel, how we move through the world, how just things hit us, right? So that's what the aim of these readings are. A reminder, this is streaming on Twitch, YouTube, and Kick. Go ahead and follow me on Kick. It's kick.com/syncpod if you haven't already. I'm just starting that channel out. I don't think we have many followers there yet. You can also follow on Twitch and YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Twitch. That's it. That's the spiel. Let's get going. We're going to pull some cards. We're going to start off with the Rider Waite today. Also, some exciting news. I just ordered a 1080p camera, so the quality of these videos will be improving drastically. For some reason, Apple, in its infinite wisdom, decided that on a $4,000 MacBook Pro, they want to put a 720p HD camera as the default camera, which is fucking insane. It's like, come on, guys. Like, this is supposed to be like world-class shit. This was like 10 years ago type stuff. So that'll be here, I think, in a couple of days. So hopefully for the latter readings and at least the live streams that we're doing that aren't the Zodiac ones, that should be up and running then. So that's pretty cool. We're making upgrades. We're making changes, so to speak. So Leo, let's just go over some basic stuff. This month you have the sun, obviously, Mercury and Venus all entering the sign of Leo. When planets move into signs, they are amplified. That energy is amplified. So when we're talking about the sun, obviously it's our expression, it's our kind of power place, it's our birthday is there. It's like a big boost of energy just for our being, our self, right? Mercury is the planet of communication. We can think Hermes. If we're going into Greek cosmology, this is all forms of communication. It can also be local travel, like traveling around where you live, not too far, and just like intaking information, understanding it, communicating it, that type of stuff. And then Venus, the planet of love, right? Think Aphrodite if we're going into the Greek stuff. So love, relationships, can also be money. Venus rules both Taurus and Libra, a dual ruler, so to speak. So those planets all move into Leo this month. So there's going to be those kind of profound influences that happen as they move into your sign. This month, just before we get into the cards, I can tell you it's going to have a lot to do with your self-confidence. Leo, you are normally a very confident, powerful, take charge type of person, but let's not pretend that we're always like that, right? We deal with self-confidence issues as well. It's just something that happens. My midheaven and Mars, or my Mercury, are all in Leo, so I have some knowledge with the Leo placements. I also have my mom is a Leo. My father-in-law is a Leo. It's very powerful people, very strong-willed people. You know that about yourself. You like to be in the driver's seat, right? I just want to be very clear that this month, especially in the realm of relationships, just be aware of like minding your ego. Try not to get too defensive if your ego is pinged. Listen, it's you know what's right for you. You know what's going on. No one is going to challenge a Leo and say, hey, you do it my way. You don't know what you're doing. Not only would that not work, it's probably not true. So just this month, be extra aware that if someone is kind of attacking your ego or your sense of self, try not to get defensive about it. Try to just let them play out whatever they need to play out, and you should be able to move through it gracefully and seamlessly. If you react to those type of situations, it's probably not going to be that fun. It's probably going to be kind of like a difficult situation for you. So just be aware of that. And with that said, let's get into it. Pulling some cards, initially from the Rider-Waite. You will see them here in the handy dandy, here, below, where my arm is, hello. That is where the cards will be pulled. Okay. Let's see what we got for you for the month of July 2023. Oh. Queen of Pentacles. The Magician. And the Six of Swords. All right, this is a pretty strong start to the reading. We've done 4 of these before. This is probably the best start we've had, Leo, so good job. Queen of Pentacles. This is sitting in a place of comfort and power related to not just material well-beings. When we see pentacles, obviously it has to do with money, with finances, but also just like the creature comforts of life, feeling good in your body, vitality, and feeling like it's something that is naturally flowing towards you. So if you've had some difficulties, kind of maybe clicking into a flow state related to abundance, this should be something that feels very natural coming in July. It should be something that like you're like, oh, here's the exhale, and it can finally take like a nice relaxing breath and know that stuff is flowing to me. You don't have to fight so hard for it, right? When we deal with the feminine signs and they're seated, it's a very receptive type of perspective. So you're getting in things coming to you. You don't have to actively go and do a whole bunch of shit. And so in the realm of finances, abundance, material things, health, this is something that should be very like, you're getting like, what's the word I'm looking for? Auspicious kind of boost in that realm in the month of July, which is probably a welcome respite too. 2023 has been a bit of a kick in the nuts, so to speak, for lack of a better term. And, we could use all the help we can get when things flow to us naturally, neatly, and nicely. Next card is amazing. Magician, this is the card we see on it. All 4 suits of the tarot there, pentacles, cups, swords, and wands, right? So representing the full suited awesomeness of the tarot. The Magician, as opposed to his counterpart, the High Priestess, who I mentioned before, the females, the feminine energy is sitting back, receiving. The Magician is performative. You're doing something to tap into the infinite abundance and wisdom of all there is, but you're doing something. You have to create by doing. It's a performance. It's you having a goal, targeting a goal, and then clearly creating some type of spell or magic to allow it to happen. But when we see it upright, that means like this is something that's going to be relatively easy for you to do naturally, right? So whatever it is you're focusing on, let's say it's a relationship, right? Let's say there's some aspect of your relationship that maybe you've been looking to improve, right? Maybe it's appreciation based, or just like, you'd like your partner to be more present for you, or you'd like to do more things with your partner. This is a perfect time to kind of formulate what the idea is that you would like to have happen or you'd like to experience, and then go cast a little spell. And what I mean by casting a spell doesn't have to be this convoluted, archaic ritual where you're like writing sigils everywhere. Of course, if you want to create sigils and use them, be my guest. But it also means that like this could be as simple as writing something down, writing an affirmation down. It could be simple as just listening to some of your favorite music and directing your consciousness and awareness towards an outcome that you would like. I think sometimes we overcomplicate things when it comes to like spell casting or just like metaphysical divination. Like we think it has to be this complicated affair with all these moving parts and components, and we need to be an expert in like wizardry and, you know, be a magician in the truest sense of the word. And it's not what it is at all. It's just directed, focused consciousness towards a clear and concise goal. That's all we're talking about. And your imagination is wonderful for this type of practice because it's boundless, right? The limitations of your imagination are, it's just whatever you can possibly believe in with reliability and conviction. That's it. So again, we're having these two, like, shit is coming to you. You can sit comfortably with the knowledge. What Leo doesn't like that, where things just come and happen to you. And we're feeling like a very gratitude energy because of that. It's a very chill card. I love the Queen of Pentacles. We love her. The Magician is like actively participating in the magic, being able to do something to kind of harness the good vibes and good energy that is naturally coming to you in the month of July, right? July also, Leo moves into, or the sun moves into Leo towards the end of the month, like 22nd, isn't it? Yeah. So we share this month with Cancer. I am a Cancer. We're soul brothers and sisters, united in the month of July, and you also have August as well. So there's going to be like powerful solar energy, movement energy coming your way in July. Just do whatever you can to actualize that, right? It does not have to be a complicated, convoluted thing. It's just like, be aware, like this is a nice time to like, you know, get on the horse and do your thing. Like, take advantage of the positive upswings in energy as they happen. And July is definitely going to be one of those months for you. So that's good. Just don't forget it. Then we get the Six of Pentacles, Six of Swords. Six of Swords, as we can see, implies a transition of some sort. And it's not always the happiest of transitions. I don't want to get too caught up in the sad scene, potentially, of a woman and a child being escorted across a river or a body of water to a different destination. I'd like you to take particular note to the man's shoes who is ferrying this vessel. They're red, right? We do some color alchemy when it comes to tarot. The different colors represent different energies. Red, in this case, represents passion. So your passion is going to be something that guides you and propels you across and through your journey. We're thinking about things here. It has to do with like things that just haven't worked out, right? This could be a job or a career change. It could be something that, you know, you've put a considerable amount of energy into, and ultimately it just hasn't really panned out in the way that you would have liked it to. It can also be in a relationship. It's just like, it ain't working. It's not fully working the way you want it to. Now, upright is nice because it means that like this is a transition that maybe it's not the one that you wanted, but it's not going to be abundantly chaotic or difficult. It should be something that you should move with seamlessly, even if it's not something you really wanted to do. Does that make sense? Like, this doesn't have to be some drastic kicking and screaming, being dragged along into some change that like we can juxtapose that with some of the other change cards in the tarot, like the Tower, for instance. The Tower is cataclysmic change, right? Like that is just change being thrust onto you in a completely obliterate everything around you type of way. This is just like recognizing that there is some emotional aspect that is not being fulfilled, that you, for your greater good, are being asked to move into a different direction, right? So when we see this card, especially with these other two, it's like use the good vibes and energy that's coming your way. Use your ability to kind of focus in on that and create some magical situations for yourself to gracefully carry you towards a new destination. That's what these three cards are saying together for the month of July. And like, you know, at the end of the day, like it's always for your own good. It is very hard sometimes, admittedly, to recognize when things are changing and they're always changing, where like the value or the goodness or like the good stuff is when we're being kind of thrust into new situations. But of course, when you get some time and space from that change, you usually can retrospectively look back and be like, oh, okay, this was like a pretty positive thing. Like I get why that needed to happen. And that may take years, it may take months, could take decades. Let's hope not. But the insight and clarity that is coming your way shouldn't be that. Thanks for the follow, Nikki. Basically, you shouldn't be kind of lamenting the fact that change is happening to you, that it is something that should be a positive thing if you can look at it through the right lenses. And again, this month is shaping up to be something where like those positive, those rose-tinted glasses in a good way, not in like a delusional way, are present. So you're going to be able to like use that energy to navigate this change that is going to take place. And again, it's like a relatively substantial change. It's not nothing. It's not like a little thing. This is something that you've probably put, like I said, a decent amount of energy into, and it hasn't really panned out the way you wanted it to. And that's okay. It's totally okay. Like we don't always get, you know, the exact kind of results that we want. Now, persistence as it pertains to like imaginal acts, manifestation. One of the things I'm going to be talking about in the next podcast episode is like manifestation is great, right? Being able to manifest stuff is amazing, but sustaining those manifestations, sustaining those changes is also very important. It's what if you just manifest things over and they turn to dust in your hand right after you manifested them? That's not that useful. But being able to lock in that kind of positive change, whether it's attitude, actual physical material circumstances, that is a powerful lesson that we also learn as we go through this process of kind of self-awareness. And that's what we're talking about here. Okay. Hangman reversed. Fool reversed. There we go. Three of Swords. Okay, guys. This is okay. There's a situation going on in your life. We see Three of Swords. We kind of always think of like the love aspect and the piercing of the swords, but really what this has to do with is contractual obligations and circumstances. And there may be something that you signed up for in the past that is kind of giving you a little bit of trouble right now. And you're also ready to like go in a new direction related to that. And that will happen, right? But it's going to require you to find a different change in perspective. And that might not be the easiest thing for you to sit into or find, right? That's what the Hanged Man reversed shows us. Hangman upright is like there's this new perspective there. You can see it, you can grasp it, you kind of get what it is. You just kind of have to sit in that perspective and then it kind of flows and clicks into place. Hangman reversed is like, okay, I know I need to change. I know I need a different angle on this, but it's not like really coming so quickly, right? It's not something that is easily accessible at the moment for me to kind of understand. And for Leo, that may be a frustrating thing. The key, as I mentioned in the beginning here with the energies that are coming in, just try not to get too caught up in like, it has to be this way. I know as Leos, you want kind of things to be a certain way and conform to your exact, like, well, control freak a little bit. We want it to be that way, but sometimes we just have to let things be to let them change and like result in a new circumstance or experience. And that's exactly what this is. And again, this is going to be some like, it doesn't have to be like an actual written contract, but it's something you agreed to that maybe now you're maybe regretting a little bit. And you kind of wish you weren't in that situation. The good news is you will be able to get out of that situation, but you're going to have to spend some energy and time in that space, understanding what it is. Why did you sign up in the first place? Why did you agree to it? And then kind of, you know, neatly and gracefully tying it up so you can move on. The Fool reversed here also indicates like a change. Listen, the Fool is a new path. It's a beginning. It's some starting a journey in a new direction. When we see it reverse, it means like you're on, like we see the Fool here on the precipice of a cliff, about to jump off into the void and make this wonderful decision to really like trust the universe and trust yourself to go in some new direction. When we see it reverse, you're kind of getting pushed off the cliff, right? And it's yourself pushing you off the cliff. I want to be clear about that. It's not It's not like anyone else is doing it to you, but it does mean that like you're kind of getting pushed off this cliff. You're going to be forced in some ways by yourself into approaching this situation related to this contract, related to this obligation, in a new way, whether you like it or not, right? And that for a Leo is not the best of prospects, right? You want to be in control when you're making the change. Now, again, I reemphasize this is you making the change, but it may not feel like that. It may feel like that circumstances are forcing you to make some type of change. But again, this is for your benefit. When we sign up for things related to responsibility, obligations, stuff like that, we might have the greatest of intentions when initially getting into them. And particularly for you, I'm getting pinged here, Leo with a Venus in Leo. This could be with a relationship, right? This could definitely be with like an intimate relationship. Maybe you signed up for a relationship and you didn't fully know what you were getting yourself into. And now you're like, uh-oh, what the fuck? Don't lament the fact that you're in that. Don't be rough with yourself, be gentle with yourself that you got into this situation, but also really try to figure out like, is this something that I want to continue? Is this something that I see kind of being able to work through and kind of get through? Or is this going to be something that like, is just absolutely not going to work? So get clear with yourself about which direction you would like to head in, and then get ready to be pushed off the cliff and get thrown into that new situation. And I understand like it's not fun when we encounter things that like maybe we realized we made not the wisest of decisions, or maybe we didn't have all the information available when we made the decision. But nevertheless, like it is something we have to confront and deal with in order to kind of not only make the right decision for that situation, but also make the right decision for future situations, if that makes sense. So again, like this is something very much related. This could also be a new job. This could be a career or something you signed on the dotted line, figuratively or literally, that now you're kind of like, was that the right thing to do? And there's not like a clear answer embedded in these cards that like yes or no. The Hanged Man here is saying like, probably you haven't explored all of the perspectives that are available to you in this situation. You are being asked to actually look at it from different angles to get more insight and clarity. It's like try to figure out the contours and the shape of what it is that you're holding and what it is you just kind of bought, so to speak. That's what your job is in July to understand. So any situation that involves responsibility, obligation, contractual type of stuff that you feel is not really going the way you would like it to, just try to like sit into the wisdom of clarity. Certainly appropriate through whatever imaginal techniques or whatever manifestation techniques you're into. I would recommend kind of appropriating and feeling a sense of clarity, right, on that, because that's going to help you really navigate again. And this could be related to the previous set of cards with the Six of Swords there, right? It's like navigating through to and through a situation, but it's definitely something like you clearly signed up for, and maybe it's not exactly what you wanted. And that's okay. It's not like this isn't like some damning, fucked up, horrible thing where like you're screwed. It's just, try to figure out the different ways that you can work with what you have, and then ultimately make a decision on whether it's something you want to continue or not. A lot of that energy is probably pointing to the not, but I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to interpret the cards as they come out. But I would be lying if I said that didn't point to probably not. Probably, even if it is, you're probably going to need to substantially change the context of that situation to make it work harmoniously for you or someone else, right? Okay. Oh, I knew it was going to come. Leo, we love it. The Sun in Leo, the Four of Cups, and the Knight of Pentacles. This is also feeling like a continuation of the same theme here that we've been addressing in terms of transition and some other way of being. You're moving into a new way of thinking, being, and feeling. The Sun is great, right? Again, we see all four suits of the tarot represented by the sunflowers on the Sun. The Sun is innocence, joy, happiness, love. We see the naked child on the horse. It's so nice. And this is like a very positive card. And we love to see this when it's in our birth month. And even if it's not our birth month, and August also counts. But in our sign, we want to see this card come up. It's the first sun we've pulled for the zodiac reading so far. So that's congrats to you, Leo. So this, again, influence, this is positive vibes. This is just like good energy hitting you in the month of July that you should be able to build upon. Now, the Four of Cups here is also pointing to something that, like, you may have missed something that is right there. It's right here, but you're not turning. You're looking at maybe something that's going on that you are very acutely aware. This is the situation. This is what I have to do with it. And if you're a Leo, you're probably figuring out, how do I move these things into the right place to make it work for me? Like, what do I do to control this situation or have it feel like correct to me? But meanwhile, there's like an answer, a big part of the puzzle right here, but you're not looking at it. You're just kind of ignoring it. You're looking at what's in front of you, and this magical cup of emotional fulfillment and perspective is right there, and you just won't look at it. So just be aware that if you feel stuck, if you feel stagnant in any aspect of your life, there is an answer, and it's very close to you. But you have to be open-minded and kind of drop the ego enough to recognize that you may have missed something, or you may be missing something. So just be aware of that. So luckily, this next card here, the Knight of Pentacles, gives us an indication of where we might find that result. The Knight of Pentacles is like classic details, like crossing your T's and dotting your I's, like really getting into the weeds of like the minutia of a situation. And you may be glossing over that. One of Leo's kind of qualities is like this grandiose, big way of thinking about yourself, about life, about everything. It's like it's like riding in on a horse and being like, haha, like I'm going to do this thing. But sometimes when we do that, what gets lost in the sauce is the details. And so maybe you're overlooking some particular detail about something in your life that you would like to see kind of move in a certain direction. This could be increased finances. This could be more harmony in your relationships. This could be even a job focus where you're just like, you're trying to click something into place. It could be a new project that you're working on and that you really are like looking for some answers for, but you haven't been finding them lately. When you start to dig into the like very fine particulars of what it is that you're doing, like take the time to plan out organization, really looking at that. We look in the back of this card, we can see the tilled fields, right? This guy has taken the time to like meticulously till those fields. It's going over every inch of land, every possible thing that's happening. And you can be looking at these and knowing that the work has been put in, that you haven't missed a single thing. If you haven't done that yet, that is what this is reminding you to do. Really pay attention to the fine particulars and details. And that is going to lead you to that Four of Cups revelation. It's like, oh, I can't believe I missed that. And again, you have all of this positive energy in July coming your way. Use it. Utilize it. Be grateful for it. You will feel it. There's going to be days in July where you're just like, fuck, I feel amazing. Mark those days, maybe jot them down, take note of it. You can correspond that to what the planetary movements, maybe Venus just moved into Leo and you're like, oh, I feel so lovey-dovey. This is amazing. But just be aware that this is something that is going to change in a very positive way if you're willing to put in the time and effort and just kind of consciousness towards all of the little things. Don't just broad stroke stuff. Get out the little brush, the little paintbrush, and paint in those little Bob Ross tree leaves, right? The little branches. Go ahead and do that, because that's going to be something that pays off in a grander way than if you just kind of like swoop in with like this, oh, I'm going to change everything. I'm a dragon. I'm going to burn it all down. And I'm the king of the jungle. That works. Don't get me wrong, Leo. It's served you well your entire life. It may have gotten you into some trouble at certain times, but for the most part, it's like a very powerful way of being. But really, like, don't be afraid to get into the particulars of your situation. Sit down, take some time. Doesn't have to be an abundant amount of time, but take some time to work on the details of your situation. And that could also go back to that contractual thing that you're in, that obligation, that responsibility. What is it that you're missing? Could you plan better to have this go better? Are you kind of like winging it or hoping in some ways without putting in kind of the awareness towards your situation? Perhaps. Let's do some animal oracles. We'll see if we get the lion. These are the animal oracle cards. I think what we'll do also next month, I've mentioned this for the patrons, we'll give away a deck or two. We'll pick some decks, and people who are interested in, we can like raffle off, or we can just do some fun games where people can get some decks and, you know, have some fun and start experimenting with them. I highly recommend, if you're interested in tarot, it is not complicated to get into. It's obviously can be very complex divine art, but I mean, like, it's easy sometimes if you're just starting out, like for yourself or for your friends and family. Just go get a pack of Rider-Waite and Google it. Like, what does the Queen of Pentacles mean reverse? Like, there's no shame in that. I just think people who gatekeep and make it like it's this complicated, horrible thing, I mean, that's how you learn. You have to, like, you know, learn from people who know this stuff, and it's really easy to do, to just get into, and then eventually you really get like a connection with the cards, and you start to realize that like there's this subconscious channel that is always present. It's omnipresent, and that you can tap into it at any given point that you'd like to, because you're familiar with the energy now. So that's what I'm saying. Animal oracle, lizard spirit, dream the world into being. Okay, so this is like really, again, this is like the imaginal stuff. Like, what is it that you are really looking for? What are the experiences, relationships, mindsets, emotional kind of perspectives that you really are feeling like would be important to you? Once you do that, you can start to apply your inherent power and just ability to create as a creator. Like, you start to live the life of your dreams. And then, of course, it comes with, you know, falling in and out of that, and, you know, solidifying it and realizing all of these different things that maybe you didn't think came with that. But it does start with like having that dream, and then also having the confidence. That's not going to be an issue for you, Leo, having the confidence to actually make that happen, and then having the persistence and faith to actually make that happen. So when we look at the zodiac signs, we want to look at the different qualities that kind of give you that superpower. Like, what's your superpower as a Leo? It's your confidence. It's your ability to lead. It's your ability to be fired up about things, to be passionate about things. And all of those qualities, especially when we're talking about like dreaming something into being, are incredibly important. You have the vision. You have the belief. You have the confidence. Now, if you're at a point where maybe those things are waning a little bit, that's what we look at to some of the cards and some of these things, like what energies are there kind of distorting some of that for us, and what can we do to kind of work with that? Because again, when we think of challenges, obstacles, threshold guardians, these aren't things that are there to fuck us up. They aren't things, you're going to hear this from me always in readings. They're there to teach us something. They're there for the reason that we are teaching ourselves something, to juxtapose the highs from the lows. And as you get more familiar with that and more appreciative of that, you have a different relationship to things like fear or failure, right? Those start to cease to become these like roadblocks that are fucking you up, and they're like, oh, here's a stepping stone to give me some added perspective and get me closer and quicker to the thing that I really would like. So we like that. Wombat spirit, be at home. So there is going to be some travel. I do feel that intuitively, and the planets, especially with Mercury moving into Leo, there probably is going to be some travel coming on in July if you're interested in doing that. It may be more local travel, and maybe more like going to a bunch of different places around where you live. And that card kind of reemphasizes that. It's like, be at home, not only physically, but in your mind. Like, actually feel that place of security and comfort. That's going to allow you to launch ideas, dreams, projects effectively. Like, this isn't the month for like going out and completely trying something new. If you are, that's great. Again, this isn't like it's going to go horribly and it's not going to work out. But this is definitely a month to kind of gather your resources, allow this positive energy to flow into you, and then utilize that towards planning something that probably is a more expansive type of trip or, you know, experience. So just recognize that, like, we're gathering, think of it like kind of gathering a ball of fire in your hands. If you put your hands up like this, you can imagine like a big ball of fire, and that fire is going to be able to be shot out into different directions and kind of seek the things that you desire to experience. And that's what we're doing. So we're taking the time to kind of build this conviction and faith and belief. And Wombat Spirit here reminds us that like we do that in our place of power. We do that where we feel secure and at home and have the confidence to kind of launch new endeavors. Okay? Fox Spirit, think on your feet. And this shouldn't be hard for most of you, Leo. Like, you're good at this. Like, it's probably why people look to you for a lot of leadership and just kind of being in charge of things, because you're usually got like a quick mind, right? It's something that you pride yourself on. It's something that you are highly aware of in your kind of internal being, that you are good on your feet. You can think rapidly. You can come up with solutions and even decisions like faster than a lot of other people. And because of that, you're able to work through things no matter what they are. And that also means like you're also willing to fail at times quicker than other people. And failure, I mentioned this in another reading, I don't remember which one it was, but failure is often a prerequisite for success. Like you have to go through some degree of failure or things not working often to get to a successful place. It's just kind of how it works. So use that quality of being very like quick-witted, quick-minded, passionate about things to kind of move you towards your destinations in a way that feels comfortable for you. And again, like all of this stuff is to underscore that like good vibes, good energy in July for you, Leo. You will feel it. I can guarantee it. You can tell me afterwards as the month has happened. You'll be like, you know what? I don't know what happened, but this month I just felt fucking fantastic. There was just days I had no reason to feel good. There was no objective reason that I should feel so good, and yet I felt amazing. And we like that. We'll pull Nature's Whispers, Oracle, Inner Truths. And this is where I want to kind of go back to that thing that I was talking about, not being defensive. There may be some things coming up this month, Leo, in July, where they kind of rub you the wrong way. Or maybe there's some harsh realities that you haven't wanted to face. They don't have to be. It could be something, a very positive thing that you just haven't been willing to look at. But just be willing to honestly and accurately look at what's going on in your life and really make a determination if it's something that's serving you or not. Ultimately, know that you have the power. You have the ability to transcend and transform and alchemize any situation into a desirable one for you. But in order to really access that power, you have to be honest with yourself, right? You have to be very honest about where you are in life. Maybe what are some of the areas that you're maybe a little bit deficient in or you haven't been focusing on. And you also, as a Leo there, like try not to push away. Like, listen, no one likes someone coming up to them, let alone yourself, and being like, you need to work on this. You're not good at that. You're an asshole. It's like, no one's going to respond all that well. But when you're doing it with yourself, at least you can be honest. Just don't lie to yourself is what I'm saying. Like, just be very, like, brutally honest about where you are in your life, what it is you would like to potentially change, and what it is you're doing great at, right? This isn't just like a pity party of things you're sucking at. It's like, what are you doing really well at? Where can you maximize your potential, the things you're naturally great at? Like, right? Like, so passion is going to be involved in this, but just take the time, again, to, like, really, like, investigate internally what it is that's working and what's not working. And that's like a deep process that we do here. Maybe you're like, I haven't been taking care of my body. I should be taking care of my body better. It's time. Be honest with yourself. And I just want to say something about like any major change that you are potentially thinking about or going through. The more honest you are about it, the easier it gets. Where it gets hard is like, let's say you're trying to quit smoking or you're trying to eat better. If you're not really like fully understanding and appreciating why you want to do that, it won't work. It's like how many people have tried to quit smoking because they're not really ready. How many people have tried to change their diet or start exercising because they're not really ready. They haven't really fully grokked why that's important. The second you get that, it becomes infinitely easier. It's just, it doesn't become this thing that you're fighting against. It's you're working in tandem with yourself to actually make things happen. Okay. A few more Rider Waite. Seven of Pentacles, this showed up in almost every reading. Luckily for you, it's upright. Okay, be careful of burnout here with the Four of Swords, Leo, and transformation. So there's definitely some big changes going on. I think towards the latter of the month, you might absolutely feel that. I don't say might. You will absolutely feel that. But you are planting some seeds for the future here, and you are comfortable waiting for those to come to fruition, and that's good. We like patience in a Leo. One of the things I'm really asking you to look out for in July is burnout. Do not push too hard. I know it's easy to. I know you got the passion. I know you got the fire. I know you can do whatever you set your mind to, but please, please, please be mindful of burnout. Be mindful of pushing so hard that you don't have any energy left. Like, that is not going to serve you. It's not going to serve your loved ones. It's not going to be something that is good for anyone, basically. And then change, like death is not death. No one's dying. You know, someone might die, but it's not that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about like egoic death. And again, this is where that kind of self-confidence and minding your ego comes in. Let what needs to die. You cannot be the same person if you want a new life, right? You can't be who you are now if you envision yourself another way. Once you're that other way, this version of you is no longer here. It's not lost forever. It's not like, you know, you're executing this version of yourself that can never be retrieved. We go back and forth into identities and beings and way of being all the time. But it does mean, like, if you envision yourself maybe as an incredible success in your profession or your career or in love, and you're not feeling that right now and you're not seeing that, recognize that if you were that person, who you are now ceases to be. You would feel a completely different way. You would be a completely different way. So just recognize, for that transformation to take place, you have to fully accept and adopt the mindset of that person. And you are that person. I want to be clear. This is more like peeling away layers of just gunk and stuff that isn't your authentic self. You know who you are deep down. Like, you understand that. You can feel it. You have this intuitive sense of like who you are at your core. Our job is to just kind of peel away or clean the mirror that's all dusty so we can accurately reflect the highest, bestest, most potentiality, laden person that we know that we are. And Leo, you use your confidence. You use your ability to know that that is true to achieve that. Just don't get stubborn about it to the point where it burns you out, because then you'll know. And like, you know what to look for in signs of burnout? Being tired, fatigued, physically, emotionally, being testy, being agitated, being people, really getting on your nerves very quickly and easily. Those are all signs of burnout. If you notice that, take a day for yourself. Take a fucking day for yourself. Take a day, say, this is my day to do shit for me. I'm going to do whatever it is I want to do. I'm not going to worry about my responsibilities, my obligations. There's plenty of other time where I can be concerned with those. This day is for me. I am honoring myself. In tandem with all the good vibes that are happening in July for you, Leo, like, take that day. Take that day for yourself. If you're feeling any inkling of burnout, please take that day. We'll do some Threads of Fate. These cards. Sacred Destruction. And this goes with that Death card too. Surrender. There's definitely something going on here. Leah. And the Observer. Okay. Something needs to go. Something is no longer serving you. Something needs to be destroyed, and it needs to be done in a lovingly way, not with animosity, not with rage, not with anger, but there is some aspect of your life that is not serving you. It is actually holding you back, pulling you down. You probably know what that is. I just want to be clear when I say this and that thing pops into your head, that's what it is. Don't go back and think about it 20 times and go, well, it could be this thing, it could be that thing, I don't know. It's that thing. That's the thing that needs to fucking go, okay? You need to surrender that. That is a full body feeling of, I'm letting it go. I am fully, with all awareness, letting this go. That's how you destroy it. It ceases to have any power or control over you once you make the decision to completely let it go. Let it go. Like, what is it? Frozen. you know? Just completely let it go, do whatever you got to do to let that shit go. And then just be aware and observe the changes that take place once you do let that thing go, right? Like there is going to be a substantial and observable and clear picture of what emerges once you get rid of that thing. This, for some of you, could be a toxic relationship. It could be a career or a job that is just not working for you. It could be a friend. It could be a mentality of lack that is just ever persistent. You know, you're saying, I'm abundant, I'm doing great, I have all this money. And then the little voice comes in and says, no, you don't. Like in your bank account, you don't have that. Let that shit go. Fucking obliterate it. That's the shit you can go outside and execute it, not feel bad about it. It's not helping you. It's not true, first of all. It's certainly not helping you. That's the stuff we destroy. And we don't destroy it like I said, in a rageful, like, oh, I'm gonna obliterate you, like Thanos type stuff. Although Thanos was actually pretty level-headed about his stuff. He was just kind of insane. But you do it like with love and with grace and go, this, my friend, you are no longer serving me. I need some space. I'm sorry this hasn't worked out, but I am surrendering. You can take what you need, but get the fuck out. That's basically what you're being asked to do. And Leo, you should be able to do that. You're okay with making those decisions like that. I know that you are. So just, like I said, to recap this month for you, Leo, lots of positive energy. You will feel it throughout the month. You will feel all of these planets moving in. Sun, Mercury, Venus. Communication is going to be amplified. Love is going to be amplified. Expressiveness is going to be amplified. But there also are some things that you need to let go, to completely destroy in some aspects. And you also just need to be like a little bit aware. Don't push so hard. You got a lot of good stuff coming to you. Don't push so hard that you completely spend and exhaust all of your energy. That is not going to help you. That is not going to serve you. But on the whole, you got a really, really nice month coming for you. And then, listen, if you have an August birthday, August is probably going to be pretty nice too. So I feel very good of all the readings we've done so far. This one feels like the best so far. So you probably have the vibes that you're going to want for the month of July. So I will see you soon. Have a good time. Stay tuned for your other placements. Up next is Virgo, and I will probably be back in an hour or two with Virgo. We're going to try to get through Virgo today, and perhaps, is it Libra? All right, let me check. I think it's Libra after that. Am I right? Do I know my zodiac or do I know my zodiac? Yeah, Libra's after that. So we'll probably get Virgo and Libra done today, and then tomorrow we will get Scorpio, Sag, and then Cap, and then we'll save Aquarius and Pisces.